So remember, Monday we started with the distributive property, which means that we have to multiply through our parentheses to get rid of them. Tuesday we combined like terms. Wednesday, did we put those two things together? I think. And then yesterday we reviewed when we have variables on both sides. So today we have all of those things in one. What's nice is they're telling us everything to do. So if you don't know, you can refer to the steps at the top. All right, so number one, first thing I notice is we have parentheses. That means we have to distribute through them. So I'm multiplying through my parentheses. How would I write 8 times n? 8n. And then I can't forget to say 8 times -1. Please stop the talking. What's 8 times -1?
20, -8.
-8. Yay. Then I'm bringing the rest of the problem down. There's nothing we can combine here. This is as simplified as it gets, but I do have variables on both sides. So I have to decide which I want to take the opposite of to get rid of it from one side or the other. Do I want to subtract 8n from both sides, or do I want to subtract 5n? That's what I would probably do. So this is like taking 5 pouches from both sides, right? So now I have 3 left on the left, so 3n, and then I'm going to bring down the rest of what is left. That 5 went away. Now I have a 2-step equation. I look to the side that the variable is on, and I have to get rid of my constant first. So I'm going to take the opposite of that. What's the opposite of -8? +8. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Now that means I'm left with 3n is equal to 15. To get rid of my coefficient, I divide by my coefficient, so I get 1n. So I have to divide both sides by 3. So n is equal to 15 divided by 3, which is 5. Okay? So that's going to start out. It doesn't look like we have to combine like terms for a hot second. So we're first just going to distribute. I don't have anything to distribute on the left, so I'm just bringing it down. I do have to distribute my 3 through. 3 times 8 is 24x. Mr. Nidifer, please be quiet. We're on page 20. We're saying 3 times -7 is -21. Then I need to take the opposite of my variable term. So either I'm going to add 7x to both sides or subtract 24x to both sides. I would probably prefer to add. This one's interesting. We have -21 is equal to 31x minus 21. But what happens when I add 21 to both sides? When I take and combine the opposites, I should get 0. So what is x going to equal? 0 divided by anything is 0, not 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. If I have 0 and I have to share it with people, I still have 0, right? All right, I have parentheses again, so I have to distribute. I'm going to say -3 times p and -3 times 3. Don't forget, oops, this is a -9, my bad. Bring down the rest of your problem. Then we're deciding what we want to do. We need to take the opposite of the variable term. So we can add 3 3p to both sides, or we can subtract 2p from both sides. Which would you prefer? I would probably add to keep my p positive. My variable term sometimes is easier when it stays positive. All right, -9 is left over here. 11 plus, now I have 5 unknowns. So now I'm going to get rid of my constant. What's the opposite of 11?
-11.
So I'm gonna subtract 11 from both sides, so that goes away. If my signs are the same, I'm finding the sum. 9 and 11 is 20, but my answer is negative. That's 0, that's 5p. Now I'm dividing both sides by,
-20.
no,
Oh. Yeah, now it is.
by 5. Maybe if you weren't playing video games right now, you could. -4 is equal to p. 6 looks the same, right? We have to distribute. 6 times 6, 36. 6 times -5n, -30n. Bring down the right. Now I have to move my variable term. Do you want to add 7n or add 30n?
Add 30n.
All right. So now I have 36 on the left, 23n minus 33. So I'm getting rid of this constant by taking the opposite of it. Thanks for the commentary, Noah. So I have 69 on the left and 23n. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 23. Should be 3 is equal to n. All right. Questions? You see what we're doing? We're really just combining Monday with yesterday. I'm going to look at, I was trying to see if there were some where you had to distribute, combine, and move over, but there's not, of course. All right, page 21. We've got a few more that we're going to practice together. We're going to distribute the 6 through because we have parentheses there, but first I'm just going to bring down the left side. My equal sign. 6 times 6x is 36x. 6 times 2 is 12. So do I want to add 5x to both sides, or do I want to subtract 36x from both sides? I would probably add. So -29 is equal to 41x plus 12. If I subtract my constant from both sides, I end up with -41 is equal to 41x. So when I divide by my coefficient, oops, that's not negative. When I divide by 41, I end up with -1 is equal to x. All right. I see I have to distribute, so I'm going to start rewriting the part that I don't need to do anything to yet. Then I'm going to distribute. -3 times r is -3r. -3 times -5 is +15. So now I need to get rid of one of my variables, so I'm gonna take the opposite of it. So it gets rid of it on the left side. So now I have 6 is equal to 3r plus 15. I look on the side of my variable. I get rid of the constant by subtracting it from both sides.
Oh, now you know.
So I have -9 is equal to 3r. Then I have to divide both sides by 3. So I have -3 is equal to r.
What thing?
Now I'm on page 21.
15.
All right. So I'm gonna start with distributing. -3 times -3 is 9m. -3 times 2 is -6. Bring down the rest of your problem. Now I notice I have variable terms on both sides, so I gotta get rid of one. I can subtract 9m from both sides, or I can subtract 8m from both sides. I would subtract 8m, so we end up with a positive m. So m minus 6, now we're just gonna have a one-step equation, is equal to -10. To undo subtracting 6, all I have to do is add 6. This leaves me with m on the left, and -10 plus 6 is -4. When our signs are different, we find the difference. 10 minus 6 is 4, but it's the opposite. Lucas, what do you mean? Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Bye.
Alright, have fun in there.
All right, -7 times 8r is -56r. -7 times -2 is +14. Uh-oh. Anytime we have the same number on both sides, they're pretty much going to cancel each other out, right? So now, if I add 56r to both sides, I end up with 14 is equal to 14 plus 62r, but it doesn't really, this coefficient doesn't really matter because when we get rid of the constant, we're left with 0 is equal to 62r. So r is going to have to equal 0, right? 0 divided by anything is 0. All right, so the next 2 pages are yours. I'm kind of feeling like we should do more today, but I think I'll just leave you with those 2 pages. That way you can go back and kind of review anything that you haven't done. 22 and 23. 10 problems. We can probably, you can probably look at the next pages. What's up? We should also be able to do, actually, I'm gonna leave you with those 2 pages to do, but I wanna do half of 24 and 25, so you can do those 4 as well. So let's just quick review, combining like terms. So this side's already simplified, so I'm just gonna write it down. But what is 5x minus 5x? 0. So I would just have a 2-step equation. I would subtract 12 from both sides. This is page 24. You missed that jump. So then I would have -6x is equal to -12. And I would divide both sides by -6. So x is equal to 2. And then we're just trying to see if it's simplified. So when we look at number 2, the left side's already simplified, but I noticed that the right isn't. So I'm going to start rewriting. I have 7 plus n minus 2 plus 4. I can combine all of my constants into 1. What's 7 minus 2?
Minus 2 is 5.
Plus the 4 makes
Plus 4 is 9.
9. So those three things combine to make 9, and I have 9 plus n. Now I still have variables on both sides, so I can either subtract 4n from both sides or subtract n from both sides. I would probably just choose to subtract n. So I'm left with 3n minus 6 is equal to 9. Then I have a two-step equation. So I would add 6 to both sides and have 3n is equal to 15. I feel like we get this problem a lot. Divide both sides by 3, so n is equal to 5. I feel like we're either dividing 15 by 5 or 15 by 3 all the time. All right, so I notice we can combine some things on number 3 on the left. I have 2 constants. What's 1 minus 7? Negative 6. Bring down your negative 2m. Bring down the rest of your problem. And now I can either add 2m to both sides or add 3m to both sides. I would probably choose to add 3m because I notice that's going to give me 1m. So negative 6 plus m now, because that was plus 1m, is equal to negative 6. Uh-oh, what's m going to equal when I add 6 to both sides? M is going to equal 0. The left is already as simplified as it gets, but I notice we can combine terms on the right. So 8x plus another x makes 9x. Now I need to move my variable terms to one side or the other. So I can either subtract 6x from both sides or subtract 9x. I would probably choose to subtract 6x from both sides. So I end up with 6 is equal to 3x. And then I'm dividing by the coefficient. So 2 is equal to x. So now that leaves you with 22 and 23, as well as page 25. So today we have done pages 20 to 25. So you've got about 15 or so minutes. You can definitely get 22 and 23 done. Try those 4 on 25 too, if you can.